Well, Ravi Shankar Prasad and Manish Tiwari representing the government and the opposition. Union Minister for Law, Justice, Communications and Information Technology versus the former Information and Broadcasting Minister in the UPA government. Gentlemen, welcome. It's 1 versus 1. Now, I don't believe in commemorations, but clearly the Congress party does, Manish Tiwari. I mean, what was the need for you to be in such a tearing hurry that you put some 100-day charge sheet against the government, which is just about taken over? I mean, you're trying too hard to pin down the government, aren't you?
Well, Mr. Goswami, insofar as the 100-day charge sheet that you talk about, it is the responsibility of the opposition to hold the government to account. So whether it is 30 days, it is 60 days, it is 90 days, or it is 24/7, if the opposition does its duty, I don't think anyone should be quibbling about it. And especially given the fact that over the past 100 days, rather than the promise of Acche Din being fulfilled, what you've seen is the spectre of fundamentalism and communalism hang low over this country. And possibly the most eloquent evidence of that is that if you were to reflect back on your own channel over the past 100 days, you would find that a majority of your own channel time has been devoted to discussing and debating extremely potentious statements which have emanated out of government and out of sections of the affiliates of the government.
I hear you.
Which have created the spectre of insecurity.
I hear you.
Therefore,
I hear you.
So therefore,
Mr.
allow me to
Tiwari.
complete. So therefore,
No, I hear you, Mr. Tiwari. Mr. Tiwari, I hear you. I hear you.
Just allow me
Before I begin the debate, I ask my Ravi Shankar Prasad, I think then let's go into specifics. Mr. Prasad, what do you say? But would you want to make some opening remarks about the 10-point charge sheet the Congress party has put against you today? Broadly, before we go into specifics.
Well, first thing I would like to say that the Congress has been pinned down very heavily by the people of India. The people of India have taken them to serious account by reducing them to be 44, the lowest ever in their history. I would think they would need to introspect and reflect and have a little patience. If they are not having to, I have no problem. But the people of India have given their verdict. In the last 30 years, the BJP won 282. Under one leader, the NDA won 340. And let me straight away come to the point what we have done to rebut what Congress is saying. Governance has been rescued. There is no policy paralysis. By one stroke, nearly 80+ group of ministers were completely superseded and quashed. We were asked to take our decisions. If need be, take guidance from the Prime Minister. There is great investment, confidence in India. Capital goods have risen by 23%. Prices are going to come under control. Investment is coming. See the foreign policy today, Japan is a testimony of that. The kind of heroic respect India and Indians are getting in Japan, 2 lakh+ crore of investment, and equally telling Pakistan and also China as to what Indian foreign policy articulation is. Most important, take the pro-people initiative we have taken, including states' interest in terms of giving mining royalty a big kick-up. Therefore, everything is going fine. People are very happy. Congress is unhappy. We have no problem with that. I would say, wait for a little more. This is a government committed to integrity. There is no corruption. Decisions are being taken fairly and quickly. And Arno, synergy, see a classic example of that. You showed that on your program. On 28th of August, in one single day, at 77,000 places, this Jan Dhan Yojana was launched. 1.24 crore account holders were given bank accounts on the same day, and the Prime Minister writes to all the 7 lakh bank employees to join in this kind of inspiring program. That is called implementation collectively, which Modi has demonstrated. But Congress party is not willing to see them. Good luck to them.
All right, Ravi Shankar Prasad, the charge number 1. I'll try and go through as many of the issues they raise. Frankly, Manish Tiwari, I find it laughable that a government in whose 5 years, 5 ministers had to resign because of pressure by the media, Raja Maran, Veerbhadra Singh, Bansal and Ashwini Kumar, talks about corruption. But in any case, let me get the response. Ravi Shankar Prasad, the Congress party says,
Allow
on
me to first respond. Allow me to first respond to the opening. Allow me to first respond to the opening remarks.
There is nothing factually wrong in what I have said. Why are you interrupting?
Allow me to first respond to the opening remarks of Mr.
Why are you
Ravi
getting
Shankar
needled?
Prasad. And then we'll go into specifics, Mr. Goswami. Allow me to respond. Allow me to just respond to the opening remarks, because Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad has made a rather expansive diatribe which needs a cogent response. So therefore, I would like to say to my good friend Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad that, motherhood and apple pie is all right. All the commitments, all the achievements that you have recounted, that's all fine. Why is it that after 100 days, when the first litmus test took place in the form of by-elections, you found the Bharatiya Janata Party wanting everywhere, whether it was Karnataka, whether it was Punjab, whether it was Bihar, in each state across the country, you found the Bharatiya Janata Party wanting. So therefore, while you patted yourself on the back, for getting 282 seats in May, would you also like to answer as to why does the equation seem to be getting reversed
for all our viewers,
exactly 90 days later?
For all our viewers,
I think on a balance,
all our viewers, and I'm going to know, for all our viewers, Mr. Tiwari,
for the BJP to introspect.
You see, Mr. Tiwari, what will happen in this very warm conversation between the both of you, if it goes on in an unstructured manner, then we won't be able to discuss any of the issues I presume you want to discuss. Or should I believe, Mr. Tiwari, that you concede that all the points Anand Sharma made had no real factual basis, which is why you're trying to run away from a serious debate on the news are on those subjects. Now, if you're not, my question goes to Ravi Shankar Prasad. Ravi Shankar Prasad,
all the issues that you want.
Mr. Tiwari, I will not let you become the anchor of the news hour. Ravi Shankar Prasad, on the issue of corruption, here is what the Congress party says.
I am not the anchor of the news hour, and I do not want to become the anchor of the news hour.
Thank you. On the issue of corruption, Ravi Shankar Prasad, Manish Tiwari's party, the Congress party, says, they attacked us about coal, they called everything a scam, they scullied the UPA, now they are requesting the Supreme Court to not cancel 46 coal blocks. They say, what has been said about the coal issue? Can the Prime Minister explain why 18 of his ministers are facing serious criminal charges, compelling the Supreme Court to make this observation that it is for the Prime Minister to ensure that those who have a criminal background are not included in his Council of Ministers? Why is the PM quiet on this? Sir, they are accusing your government of hypocrisy. I'd like to hear your response on that. Charge number 1, corruption. Mr. Prasad.
The reply is very simple on Coalgate. What was government stand? It has been set aside being illegal, the consequence has to follow, all things have to go. But forsaking the power situation of India, with the Supreme Court itself has stated, we will go to the specifics. It was said, at least in case for 46, leases have been executed, production has started or going to start. Therefore, for the sake of energy security, kindly consider that. The rest will be completely auctioned out of nearly 200 plus. Is it a wrong statement to make? We have said we accept the judgment. I have said that the rules of the game have been made very clear. Therefore, please, that's the point number 1. Point number 2, Arnab Goswami, it is indeed a little exciting and a little curious to hear Congress talking of corruption. But one is politically motivated cases. But Arnab Goswami, let me tell you one thing. In the case of Mr. Yadurappa, the BJP bounced back in Karnataka so heavily, in which he played a very crucial role. He's a popular leader. But what he made the minister? No. The Prime Minister took a call very clearly and categorically. And let me tell you, Arnab Goswami, you're my good friend, I have great personal regard for you. The way the decision is being taken by this government, fairly, objectively, our mandate is very clear. No compromise on corruption. We have been given complete freedom to set right the whole mess they have left behind. And Mr. Manish Tiwari, I don't grudge a consolation prize to you of winning 1-2 seats in Vidhan Sabha. Wait for Lok Sabha. But just to remind him, or no, it's very important to remind him, in Bihar, in 2009-10, the BJP NDA lost 10 by-election out of 13. but
Anyway,
came
we're
with a
not talking
two-thirds
about.
majority
No, we're
in the
not talking
subsequent
about
outcome election.
by-poll results. No, we're not
He
talking
mentioned
about
that.
by-poll
I
results.
thought must put the record straight.
I'm not
All
talking
right,
about
I get
by-poll
your point.
results, but I
get your point.
presume that on the issue of corruption, and by the way, to all our viewers, you can tweet live. Who do you think is winning this debate? Ravi Shankar Prasad or Manish Tiwari? You can tweet us what you think about it. Manish Tiwari, Ravi Shankar Prasad puts a sharp response to you. I don't want to be stuck on it, but perhaps before slamming the BJP, you should look at your cabinet list of 2009 and the ministers accused of crimes. I don't want to read out their names. Subodh Kant Sahai, Harish Rawat, Arun Yadav. How many ministers were accused? And unlike the previous government, which even promulgated an ordinance to give a 90-day breather to convicted MPs, this government worked on a roadmap to fast-track cases for criminal MPs and MLAs. You are looking shallow on that, Mr. Tiwari, which explains your silence on this subject tonight. I understand
Well,
that
Mr.
you are on the
Goswami,
back
now
foot
allow
on
me
this
to-
one, so we'll move to the next point.
Well, Mr. Goswami, before you pass judgment, allow me to respond to it. On Colgate, what has the Supreme Court held? The Supreme Court has held that all
Sir.
allotments made from 1993 till 2009 were capricious and illegal. I would like to ask you, does 1993 to 2009, does it not cover the NDA years? So therefore, what was followed in the
I'm
NDA
sorry.
years in terms of the allotment
Who?
criteria,
No, 1 second.
the same
Mr.
was followed
Prasad
in the
intervenes
UPA
on that.
years.
I'm
So
allowing
therefore
the
you have
intervention.
Mr.
No, sir.
Ravi Shankar
Since
Prasad
he said
patting
I'm
himself on
intervening.
the back,
No, he
that
wants to intervene.
that we are trying to cleanse corruption.
No.
Allow me to complete, Mr. Goswami. Allow me to complete. But he gets selectively amnesic, when it comes to the fact that the
I'll
Supreme
take
Court
one
has set
response
aside everything
before I
from
move on.
1993 to
I remind
2009.
you.
And number
I
two,
remind you.
the observation with regard to corrupt ministers,
Sir.
with regard to corrupt ministers has come from the Supreme Court. So therefore, it is for the government to respond
Sir,
to the
it is an
of the
observation,
Supreme
not an
Court.
instruction.
Why is
You
the
know
government
that.
so
You're a
silent?
lawyer. You know what the
feels
court said
that
was an
there is
observation,
no
not an
corrupt
instruction.
minister in their
And I have
government,
seen,
no
no, sir.
tainted minister, no
No, sir,
charge-sheeted
you know what the
minister,
Supreme
no
Court said was an
minister
observation,
against
not an
whom
instruction.
NPW is pending and the police
Mr.
cannot
Tiwari,
find
I'll
him,
take
then it is fine. Then it
one
is
response
fine.
on the issue
You
of
know,
corruption only on Colgate. I allow a rebut from Ravi Shankar Prasad. Mr. Prasad's turn now, please. Mr. Prasad, otherwise we'll get stuck on one point.
Mr. Goswami,
Mr. Tiwari, why are you getting worked up on the issue of
When you put a question to
corruption?
Ravi Shankar Prasad, allow me to respond to it.
No, you responded well and
I
clear,
am not
sir,
getting
but
worked
why
up,
are you
I'm
getting harassed
worked
on
up
the issue
the
of
manner
corruption?
in which you want
Maybe
to
you're on the
conduct
back
the
foot.
debate.
No, there is no manner. Don't
I
insinuate,
am not
Mr.
getting
Tiwari.
harassed, Mr. Goswami. But the fair thing to do is when you put a question to Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad
When
and
you
he
raised your
articulates
hand-
a response, give me
So
an
when-
equal chance to
No,
respond to
I
it
did.
so that it is fair
I
and
did.
balanced.
No, when you raised your hand and he wanted to, we wanted
Yeah.
to intervene him, I allowed
No,
him.
so
he raised his
therefore,
hand, I
when
allow him.
raised my
And then we
hand,
move to point number two, Mr.
continuous
Prasad. What
litany
did
of
you want to say
interruption
there?
starts from you. Please don't do that. So go ahead.
Arnav, I have just one humble request to make. And this very small representative of the government, which is one with a massive mandate, will be given some time to speak in this program. Okay? I'll be really grateful. Arnav, on the Colgate, I have to make only one clarification. The Supreme Court, in its wisdom, binding on all of us, said the screening committee route was wrong. But in case of the UPA dispensation, they have noted the whole CBI investigation as to how Colgate were allocated, how rules were flouted, how ineligible persons were promoted. Therefore, if Mr. Tiwari in his wisdom is seeking to compare the two, I have nothing more to say. Or now I would again repeat, the way the governance is going in this government, the way decisions are being taken, therefore the people are flocking. Let me tell you, I am the IT minister. So many international companies are coming to have investment in electronic manufacturing. The way 5.7% growth rate has been achieved. We are promised to take it to 7%. This whole favorable climate is a direct byproduct of good governance. That's what I am trying to highlight.
Sir, 5.7% growth the government says is not your growth. Anyway, I'll come to the second point. What? No, Mr. Tiwari.
May I,
Mr.
Mr. Goswami?
Mr. Tiwari, I'm moving on to the next issue, Mr. Tiwari, which is of centralization of power.
It will
Which
take
is of
30
centralization
seconds.
of power.
It will take 30
Mr.
seconds.
Tiwari.
One clarification.
No more
Would the
seconds.
law
Mr.
minister-
Tiwari, no,
would the law
I put my
minister-
foot down.
would the
now.
law minister... No,
I
hang
put-
on. Let me ask a clarification. No, please allow one clarification in larger national interest. Would the law minister please enlighten the nation that has the Supreme Court not held that all allotments which were made from 1993 to 2009
Sir,
were
you're getting
illegal or
stuck
not?
on that.
Is that a correct statement of fact or not?
Or not, did I deny that? As if I am being positioned as the Law Minister of India by Mr. Manish Tiwari? I do not know law as much as Mr. Tiwari does, but I know a little of law.
Why are you getting antsy?
I've
I
read
only
the
asked
judgment.
All right, now 1 second. Point number two. Point number
At the
two.
very outset, I said all have been quashed. I only
Point
distinguish
number
the two.
two.
I think
Point-
Mr. Tiwari today is becoming too personal because Mr. Tiwari has not something to say substantial.
Mr. Tiwari, minimum, your second charge was centralization of power. PM said minimum government, maximum governance. Minimum governance has met one person. This has meant centralization of administration and governance. It does not mean undermining the cabinet form of government, etc., etc. I mean, you basically said the government's got Modified. Now, Mr. Prasad, you concede there is, on that point, there have been reports that the Prime Minister's office has assumed a very prominent role in appointments. There are notes to ministers which dictate that the Prime Minister's approval is necessary before any personal staff or official is appointed. There are talks about whether appointments of private secretaries to cabinet ministers have been held back. You know, there is this whole argument being put by your critics and quite publicly by the Congress party today that there is a level of centralization which may not be in the larger interest. Some amount of centralization is good, but it's getting beyond what is necessary.
Or no, I will see it like this. 7 RCR does not look towards 10 Janpaths anymore. There was power concentrated in 10 Janpaths for 10 years. Here the 7 RCR occupant, the Prime Minister, riding on a popular mandate, is taking decisions rightly for the country as the first
Right.
among equal as the Prime Minister of India.
Yeah.
The same Prime Minister is carrying with the Cabinet Secretary of the previous government or not. Mr. Ajit Seth, he took out a rule book which says that the private secretary should not be placed for more than a particular year. That's all. Nothing more. What is wrong with that? But the same bureaucracy today is performing so well. And you know it very well. He called the meeting of all the secretaries where he asked their name, first name, shook hands with them and talked to them one-to-one what was wrong and how we need to improve. These are all elements of governance. Yes, Modi ji is the Prime Minister, is the first among equal. But let me tell you, Arnab Goswami and your viewers, I am handling some important portfolios in my own modest way. And the Prime Minister has given us all the freedom to take a decision. Yes, if we need some guidance, we go to him. He guides us. That's what. If the PMO needs some briefing to give in to us, they give us. That is all a part of good governance as the leader of the team. Nothing wrong
What are
about
you
it.
missing,
It is
Mr.
not
Tiwari?
concentration. There is no
What?
10 Janpath wide way. Only
No
7 RCR.
centralization. Well, Mr. Tiwari, the country is better off, isn't it, governed by a centralization of power in the hands of a Prime Minister rather than an ineffective Prime Minister who lives, you know, in a world of denial and the dual power structure which corrupts the system. Mr. Tiwari, you think you got the wrong point here on the issue of centralization? You mixed up leadership with centralization.
Well, my good friend
Perhaps.
Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad is absolutely... No, my good friend Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad is absolutely correct. You have a Prime Minister in office today who looks towards Nagpur. So therefore, whatever then gets evolved or unfolded in the country is as Nagpur desires. And that's why you have this...
Prove it. Prove it. Prove it. 1 second. 1 second. Ravi Shankar Prasad, you're having a good laugh. The line froze there. The satellite link with Manish Tiwari seems to have frozen. What do you find amusing in what he's saying, Mr. Prasad? He's back. No, he's back. Okay, once he's back.
Allow me to prove it. This government starts its innings. This government starts its innings with a statement saying that we will repeal Article 370. After that, you have a statement in Parliament from a senior minister that the Uniform Civil Code will be back on the agenda. Then you have the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, which is an affiliate of the Bharatiya Janata Party and the RSS, almost warning the minorities that you are second-class citizens. Then you have the RSS chief declaring that India is a Hindu Rashtra. And in the middle of all this, you have the deafening silence of the Prime Minister. So therefore, whose agenda is working in this country? Is it the agenda of 7 RCR or is it the agenda of Nagpur, may I ask?
Mr. Prasad.
Arnav, I have great personal regard for Mr. Manish Tiwari for his sterling eloquence, but I think going into the opposition is also having its impact on him. I was the first Mr. Manish Tiwari as the spokesperson of the government to say on the very first day on which we announced the setting of a SIT for black money, which you kept pending for 4 years, to unearth the black money, that Article 370, the government will come to respond in a structured way. I know your desperation, raising all these issues, all major decisions, the Jan Dhan Yojana, the budget, the financial inclusion, the digital India, the security of India, the firmness to not to have a dialogue with Pakistan once they sought to invite the Hurriyat, the way Prime Minister firmly handled China as far as expansionism is concerned, all are decisions taken at the political level. Therefore, I don't grudge your desperation, but what you have said is factually completely incorrect. That's what I'd like to highlight.
No, what he's talking about Nagpur. Why are you avoiding a direct response on the issue of Nagpur?
I have heard a filibuster. I have not heard an answer.
Arnav, could we keep on only going question and answer?
I have not heard an answer, Mr. Goswami. I have heard a filibuster.
If
no,
Mr. Manish Tiwari has to set the agenda, I said that I include Nagpur also. Yes, RSS is a nationalistic body. We are proud of that. But if he is saying that they are dictating the governance, it is factually wrong and completely incorrect.
No, you
and
see,
this has been explained even by the RSS
Mr.
at the highest
Prasad.
level.
No, Mr. Prasad,
seem
one
to
of
be
their
setting the
charges,
agenda.
charge number 5, Mr. Tiwari, 1 minute, is on the issue of saffronization and communalism. And they make some very serious charges on that. My question to you is, sir, the Prime Minister has asked for a moratorium of violence, but there is no clear comment of the increasing number of incidents of communal violence. Instead of taking action against people like Sangeet Som, the government has decided to go ahead and give him Z+ security. It is not comforting that Yogi Adityanath has led the BJP's debate on communal violence, nor does it inspire much confidence that the same man is the face of your electoral campaign in Uttar Pradesh. You know, sir, Mr. Prasad, the kind of comments that Yogi Adityanath is known to give and have. They somehow don't fall in line with the whole philosophy of India First that you spoke about. I'd like a clear answer from you on that before I let the Congress party in on that charge.
Goswami, the declaration of the Prime Minister from the ramparts of Red Fort was very evident. All strife, tension on caste, on creed, on ideology, on left wing must be stopped. People must be given the right to do so. And BJP is in power in so many states. Mr. Modi was the Chief Minister for 14 years. And you have seen the kind of growth, everything which happened there. That debate we had ad nauseum, and I don't want to revert to that. The case of Shivraj Singh Chauhan, the case of Raman Singh, Vasundhara Raje, many others. UP is a different ballgame altogether.
Why?
I have my limitations, Arnav Goswami, because now I'm a minister. Yes, let me complete. The way the ruling dispensation have given a clear signal of discrimination in administration is creating divide, is creating strife. And Congress party, which drew zero in so many states, including in Uttar Pradesh, to Madhya Pradesh, to Himachal, to Punjab, to Maharashtra, to Delhi, to whatnot, today is trying to foment that. That is my charge. If any particular one has been given a special security because of local reasons of sensitivity or tension, that's a different ballgame altogether. But our position is indeed very clear. We want justice for all, appeasement of none. And that
why
we follow.
does your government not speak? No, sir. Okay, Mr. Prasad, Manish Tiwari may want to come in, but the question was this: why does your government not speak when it says we are not a Hindu nation? Or when Yogi Adityanath is found making comments on love jihad? You see, at the end of the day, sir, economic progress and social unity must go hand in hand. That is one area where questions are being. I'm sure you realize it, the gravity of this issue. Because I don't want to get caught into the debate. Manish Tiwari wanted to come back. Yes. He wanted to come back on the subject to you. I don't think he's convinced, and he has a right to come back.
Arnab,
He will never be convinced. He will never be convinced.
I just wanted to say, I just wanted to say that it is not the Congress party which raised the issue of bikinis. It is not the Congress party which raised the issue of beaches. It is not the Congress party which made statements with regard to Hindu Rashtra. It's not the Congress party whose MPs went around saying that if the demographics of a particular district are in a particular manner, the incidents of communal violence would be more. So therefore, there seems to be a well thought out, orchestrated agenda in which I'm not saying the government is complicit, but the government seems to be patronizing it. And unfortunately, what you've seen unfold is a situation whereby you have a level of insecurity whereby communities are almost head to head. And if this government believes in growth, if this government believes in progress,
okay, rebut. No, I'm allowing the rebut. No, I allowed you the rebut. I think, Mr. Tiwari, while you are on that point, I let Ravi Shankar Prasad with a rebut. We have to go to the issue of black money after this. Yes, Mr. Prasad.
Or no, first of all, let not Mr. Manish Tiwari hijack this whole debate to make it a polarized debate. I know he's uncomfortable, and I've always said that BJP has won this 282, the highest in its history, also because of young Muslims also in some measure have supported us. Don't forget, we have got 9 Catholic MLAs in Goa. So many people in Northeast, from Meghalaya to Nagaland to Mizoram have voted to us. I have campaigned extensively there for the last so many years. Therefore, they are jittery. We understand that. And they have nothing to offer. That's the problem. But let me tell Arnab Goswami, my good friend, and through you to the young people of India. India has travelled beyond this secular communal divide and this vote bank phony politics they are trying to highlight again. That is the only thing they always have to say. Yes, security must be there, but India has travelled much beyond what Modi ji said. Democracy and demography and demand and dividend. Aspirational India. But my friend Manish Tiwari or people like others have not understood this great aspiration. It is reflected in the outstanding election result, and we will perform and will continue to have their trust.
Why do you keep Mr. Tiwari? Before I move to the next point, I must say, ask you, Ravi Shankar, why do you keep in your interventions keep talking about the bitterness of the Congress party? Do you really feel, Mr. Prasad, that every single aspect of criticism that you had towards the Congress party when they were in power was as a result of your bitterness of being in the opposition? Do you believe that's a substantial enough response to give, sir? Because at least 4 or 5 times you talk about how bitter they are at their loss. Why are you doing this to just provoke Mr. Tiwari? Or do you believe so?
Let me tell you, I'm very grateful you have asked that question. Not the least bitter. My leader, the Prime Minister, told on the floor of the House, I am going to walk the extra mile even for a party which does not have a member of Parliament. But yes, Congress party must learn to be reconciled. They are no more in power. The people have rejected them lock, stock and barrel. If I
You don't think they know that already?
Have patience. Allow us to make some mistake. We will not make any mistake.
Goswami,
there is no
Mr.
corruption.
Goswami.
But allow us to work. Being so much impatient, I fail to understand.
Mr. Goswami.
Yes. Go ahead. 5 minutes on the debate.
That's really rich. That's really rich. Coming from a party which had very eloquently stated that disruption is a legitimate parliamentary tactic. A party which washed out parliament session after parliament session, sacrificed it on the altar of parties in politics. And now they are saying, let us work. Of course, we are playing the role of a constructive opposition. That is why you had such a fantastic parliament session. So to lay this charge on the door of the opposition that they are not allowing you to work is possibly the greatest acknowledgement of the governance bankruptcy of this government, unfortunately, by esteemed friend Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad.
Sorry. I am not saying you are not allowing to work.
I am not interrupting you, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, at all.
But criticize substantively. not criticism for the sake of criticism. And
By
that's
the
what
way,
you are
as
doing.
we are entering into the last point on this debate, I request the entire audience watching this Newshour debate tonight between minister versus former minister, and both have held, by the way, at different points of time, the portfolios of information and broadcasting. Now, by the way, you can tweet and tell us who, in your view, is going to be winning this debate. You know, our lines are open. That is Manish versus Ravi versus Manish is the hashtag. You can tweet and tell us what you think about how both sides are doing. Now, my last question tonight is on the charge of black money.
Goswami.
No, there's no Arnab Goswami in this. Manish Tiwari, I mean, you know what's rich. I'll tell you what's rich. I'll tell you, I'm happy to see Ravi Shankar Prasad smile tonight. I'm happy to see you smile tonight because sometimes Mr. Prasad gets so angry in the course of the debate, and so do you, that it's good to get a few laughs. Now, but what makes me laugh, and don't take it otherwise,
Arnav, we have learned something from you. Arnav, we have learned something from you also.
Yes. Oh, Mr. Prasad, I should let my hair down more often, shouldn't I? Now. You know what's rich. You know what's rich. What is rich is the Congress party making an accusation on the issue of black money. That is rich. What makes me laugh is the Congress party lecturing a 100-day-old government on the issue of black money. They say they had promised to bring black money back. It has been 100 days that they have not been able to bring back 85 rupees. How many rupees did you bring back? I mean, Mr. Tiwari, not only should you take that back, maybe you should apologize for raising the issue in the first place, because the highest court of this country had asked the UPA government whether it was quote-unquote sleeping on the issue of black money. And it recently noted that the Modi government had made progress on the black money front. How could you get it so completely wrong on an issue in a press conference when you were supposed to do your research before coming out today? No, I'll allow you, but I know your convictions are not going to be there with whatever you say now.
Well, the difficulty with you these days, my dear friend, is that you pass judgment even before the argument is held. So therefore, the argument is made. So therefore, don't play judge, jury and prosecutor. So therefore, don't play judge, jury and prosecutor, and then allow me to respond to your question. If there is one government which actually worked with conviction on the issue of black money, it was the UPA government. And that is testified by the fact that 77 dual taxation. No.
Please.
Well, allow me to at least complete the argument before you burst into splits. Allow me to complete the argument. 77 dual taxation agreements with different countries were signed. Tax information exchange agreements with a large number of tax havens were put into place. In addition to that, the entire Egmore process, was fast-tracked, and India became a member of that. So the entire foundation for recovering black money was laid by the UPA government. The people who waxed eloquent about UPA, about black money. In fact, I remember replying to an adjournment motion moved by Mr. L.K. Advani in the Lok Sabha on the question of black money. Unfortunately, in the first 100 days, have done precious little.
What did you do, Mr. Tiwari? And what did you do, Mr. Tiwari? Today you say, no, Mr. Tiwari, and what did you do?
After waxing eloquent about it for 5 years.
You say today they formed an SIT. What has the SIT done? Should we not ask? Should we not ask whether you tried to block an SIT? Should we not ask what happened in the Hassan Ali case? Should we not ask what the Supreme Court had said at that period, where it said that you claimed...
Should we not ask that the SIT was formed by the Supreme Court?
Should we not ask why the Supreme Court
was formed by the Supreme Court?
Should we not ask why the Supreme Court?
In the Hassan Ali case, if there is evidence available, let the government bring the evidence out.
You know what happens? Mr. Tiwari, I know that one of the jobs of a lawyer...
They have a government now in office. They can pursue all the leads. They can pursue all the issues which they have raised.
I'll get Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad
take it to a logical conclusion. But on the question of black money, Mr. Goswami, may I respectfully ask that what is the substantive progress in the last 100 days?
Right. Now, I don't know. You know what you did? Your government spent all its time making silly committee after silly committee and come with an even more silly solution of appointing an envoy of black money. I mean, come on, Mr. Tiwari. And by the way, I know that good lawyers are supposed to justify the unjustifiable and defend the indefensible. But you forget that the Supreme Court asked you. The Supreme Court asked you why things were being kept secret. The Supreme Court asked you why names were not being given, Mr. Tiwari.
Please enlighten the nation, Mr. Goswami, as to what has happened on the question of black money in the last 100 days.
I am talking about what you did and your moral stance in asking the government questions in 100 days. When for 10 years before that you dragged your feet and did nothing.
If you want to have a debate on what we did on the question of black money,
do you have the moral stance to do so?
We'll have a full debate on what we did in the last 5 years. And
all right. Ravi Shankar Prasad.
Or no, I think, where are we going? You are a very, almost the top anchor of India, and your channel is an important channel of the country. The most important, if I can say with compliments to you or no, in which you have played a good role. We need to be a little serious while talking on this issue. The very first cabinet meeting, the SIT was constituted, headed by a retired judge of impeccable integrity and other judges, and giving it the highest support of Director RAW, Director IB, Director CBI and Custom Board Chairman and others, Revenue Intelligence. And how many years they dragged on or no? Do I need to tell that? The Supreme, yes, Mr. Tiwari is right. But the notification and the pursuing of the process was to be done by the government, including placing senior officers. They did not do for so many years in spite of the Supreme Court reminding about that. On the contrary, they kept on seeking review, clarifications against the judgment of Supreme Court that this whole SIT will impede upon policy making and governance.
Yes, you did,
that
Mr.
is their stand. And you rightly stated that they did so because once black money would have been opened up, there were a lot of skeleton inside their cupboard. But that is a different matter. Now, SIT was constituted for black money on the very first cabinet meeting, which I had the privilege and honors to announce. Other processes are going on. They have already met. A lot of information is being collected. At diplomatic level, coordination is being done. And this double taxation avoidance agreement, it is being worked out. The way Arnab Goswami had occasion to talk about it, you may know that the whole UN record on good governance, etc., on this whole international campaign against corruption was signed when? Do I need to recall that? And follow-up action taken when? Therefore, these are important issues which we cannot overlook. Here our government is very much on the track. We are doing it. And let me tell you, it is our commitment. We shall follow it.
Closing the debate.
Instead of being unnecessary. Yes.
Closing the debate.
May I, Mr. Goswami, just make one? May I, Mr. Goswami, just make one point? When
Then
the
you
BJP
have to
was
give
in
me
the
chance again to
opposition,
reply to it.
they used to regularly say, "Please release the names. Please release the names."
So, Mr. Tiwari, Mr. Tiwari, on the issue of black money, no, Mr. Tiwari.
From Switzerland, from Liechtenstein.
Mr. Tiwari, sometimes you see.
Why don't you release the names?
Mr. Tiwari.
Why doesn't this government release the names that it has received?
Mr. Tiwari, sometimes what happens...
The swan song of the BJP used to be, Mr. Goswami,
Mr. Tiwari, you're a very sincere
release
person.
the names of those people that you have received from Switzerland, from Liechtenstein and other countries.
Okay, so
I would
Mr.
like
Ravi
to
Shankar
reverse the
Prasad,
charge and ask this government that they have received names as they have
you
admitted
release
in the last 100 days. Why don't they release those names?
Yes. It will be done, Mr. Tiwari. Why you are so desperate? Come on. Nice to see Mr. Manish Tiwari becoming a convert.
I am not desperate. If I am asking a question which is inconvenient to the BJP, why are you getting embarrassed in turning red?
I am not the least. Manish, I am only telling you as a friend.
Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, all I am saying is, please walk the talk.
Mr. Prasad, Mr. Prasad.
What you said in the opposition, implemented in government.
1 minute. Mr. Prasad, March 2011, sorry, extending the debate by just 2 minutes. March 2011, when the Supreme Court said, why was the government sleeping all these days? They said, you have claimed privilege, and they asked the UPA government, you have claimed privilege about certain persons and said, you cannot disclose the names. Why are things being kept secret? Let the people of this country know what is happening. And Mr. Prasad, leaders like you from the BJP came and applauded applauded what the Supreme Court said. Release the names.
Yes,
So
yes.
today you can't get away by saying it will be done. Why are you in a hurry? The same question.
I'm not the least, or no, please don't misunderstand me. Don't misunderstand me or no. Sorry, our commitment remains there. It will be done. That's all I can tell you.
Okay, who do you think won this debate? In any case, I'm happy both sides participated. Ravi Shankar Prasad and Manish Tiwari on the 100-day versus debate on the News Hour tonight. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. Thank you, gentlemen.